Good morning. Hope you're waking up to a nice start to your day, although by the time you're seeing us this morning, it's kind of midday into your Monday. We're glad you're joining us on 3+U this morning, and if you had a good weekend, maybe like a lot of us, you ate a little bit too much and you're thinking, this is the day I'm going to get back into a healthier regime, you're in luck, because it's also the day that Jack Silberman pays us a visit with In Shape MD, and he's brought once again a client, now friend of his, Renee Nixon. So welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
You and I were talking, and once again, Renee had this wonderful story of a good bit of weight lost, 40 pounds, right, in about 12 weeks. So in my mind, Jack, I'm thinking, boy, that HCG program working again. This is a different program.
Absolutely.
That Renee was a part of.
Yeah, and there are different programs to get to the same goal. Some take a little bit longer, some are a little faster. What we did with Renee was more coaching and accountability and more mind control and things that she needed to pay attention to. And slowly we walked this journey and got her down 40 pounds in 12 weeks.
Okay, Renee, I'm going to let you kind of tell your story a bit, but I'm going to set you up, okay? So, like so many people, life for you got kind of complicated. Your husband had gotten a little bit, sick in November. He needed to have a dietary change. So at some point, long about January or later, you kind of took a look at yourself and said, you know what, we got to make some switches here. The weight had crept up on you before you really knew it, right?
Oh, yeah. It doesn't take long.
So when Jack has been on before, and a lot of people have had success with his HCG program, it's a little bit restrictive. You know,
Yes.
if you're going to go through that, now you're limited to 500 calories, I think, a day for a while.
That's with the HCG, yes.
You chose a different route, and I'm guessing it's been a benefit now for you and your husband, right?
It has. Actually, Jack chose it. He will talk to you, and he gets to know you and find out what you need.
Okay.
Instead of just like saying, okay, here's this diet, do this. You know, he just talked to me, found out my background, and said, I think this is what we need to go with.
So what he did for you is called a fat burner shot.
Sure.
It's
Yeah.
like a B12 shot times 10.
Times 10. Yeah, it's made up of 12 amino acids. Once a week she would come in for her shot. Okay, and then we'd work with her on her nutrition, work with her on her exercise, and then of course we would do the measurements and calculations to make sure she stayed on track. If she had a slow week, we adjusted it for the next week. We also celebrated when we had good weeks.
Right.
Your husband was in the hospital for a while.
He was.
So I've had experience being in the hospital with somebody. You sit a lot,
Yes.
right? And then you're driving back and forth, so you're sitting more. I would think that that makes your metabolism slow down because you're not doing anything active, right?
Yes.
So is that why the fat burner shot was such a good idea for
Yeah,
her?
oh, it was a great idea. It gave her energy, but it also, she was exercising at that time, which was helpful.
Yeah.
So it helps burn more fat as she goes through the program.
I probably really started exercising after about 3 weeks because I had came in the first week, I lost 8 pounds.
That must have been exciting.
It was. I was like, wow. And then the second week, I lost 5 pounds. And I hit that third week, and I was like, oh my gosh, I still lost weight. I lost like 4 pounds the next week. But I told Jack, I said, it was so hard this week. I said, I just had such a hard time. And he was like, well, why did you have a hard time? And I said, well, we had went out to eat over the weekend. I said, and it just set me off. I said, I just wanted to eat different things that I didn't need to be eating. And so he told me about this book. It's called Think and Grow Rich. And so I got the book. He said, read that. And he said, come back and tell me what you think about it. And so I had been reading it. And the first week he said, okay, what did you think about it? And I said, well, it sounds to me like it's more about you and not other people. And that you need to concentrate on yourself. And that book just gives you the steps that you need to take.
And is it kind of for you an eye-opener? Like once you've had it connect with your brain and you go, oh, I get it now.
Yeah.
It becomes easy from that point?
Yeah, well, I actually didn't buy the book right at first. And I went to like a Salvation Army or something. I was just looking around for some knick-knack stuff. And that book was laying there.
No way.
Yes, it was laying out. And out of all the books that were on that wall, that one was laying there. And
Somebody was talking to you.
I was like, it's meant for me to read that.
So I did not know that story until you shared it. And I'm glad that you did, because how relatable is that, right? That we
Yeah.
all hit a brick wall, and we all have had that experience of going out to eat, and you're watching somebody else get that piece of cheesecake, and you want it so bad. But what you're saying, Jack, is it circles back around to, is it really worth it in the end?
Yeah, you know, Julie, it's not always so much what we eat, but it's oftentimes what's eating us. And when Renee came in, there was some things we wanted to work through, but that book was just a good book to set up some steps, some goals, and help her work through some stuff and keep her accountable. That was a good start for her.
You had dieted before, and you said that you often found that you would give up carbs, and then you'd eat them again, and it backfired on you big time.
Yep.
That's a common thing you hear?
Yes.
So
yes.
what makes this different when you do these fat burner shots, for example? She had to be careful what she ate, but was she not having to eliminate carbs?
You know, Julie, it's being intentional. So sometimes we think we're giving up stuff, but if we're not writing it down, if we're not looking at it, if somebody's not checking it, you think you're doing the right thing, and oftentimes you're not. Her coming in every week and sitting down with me and us talking through everything made her accountable to say, this is what I did, or this is what I should have done. And so we made those corrections each week to keep her on the journey of the weight loss.
Well, it also kept you from wasting your time.
Yeah, it really was great. Like I said, Jack is a big part of it. His team, they talk to you, and they really find out about you and what you need to do to lose the weight. Like, I didn't have a plan. That was one thing. He was like, well, you got to have a plan.
Did that surprise you about him? Were you quite prepared for that personal involvement?
No, I wasn't, but that's what I needed. I needed somebody to talk to every week about it, somebody that wasn't my family, that wasn't a friend, somebody that could look at me and say, this is what you need.
What are your friends telling you now?
Oh, everybody is just like so excited for me. They think it's wonderful. My husband says I don't snore anymore.
Well, you know what? Before I let you run, we do tend to talk, sadly, more about the physical side of it, the appearance of weight loss, and that brings some self-esteem along with it.
Oh, for sure.
But there are health benefits that you get when you lose the weight.
Well, you just mentioned one. Most people, as you gain weight, you'll find they go on sleep apnea, or they get sleep apnea and they have to sleep with the mask. But once you start dropping that weight down, that goes away, which has actually happened to you as well. But all the other benefits of lowering your blood pressure. We have so many people that are on blood pressure medicine that come in. Once they start dropping their weight, they have to go off their blood pressure medicine. So it's another great benefit.
I have to ask you, because I'm sure people at home are wondering, you mentioned that there are 12 amino acids in this fat burner shot. So is it basically all natural? Is it synthetic?
All natural. And you can stay on that forever if you want to. It's like a B12 shot, but a much more advanced B12 shot.
And you've been doing it for a long time, or is this kind of a new offering that you have?
No, we've been doing it quite often.
And why is it? Because I know when you're on next week, you'll talk about another program you have or an offering you have. What is so magical about 12 weeks?
It's not so much the 12 weeks. It's the starting and finishing date, that you have a beginning time and an ending time. It could be much longer, it could be shorter. 12 weeks gives your body an opportunity to really see some changes.
Do you have a goal, even beyond what you've accomplished?
Well, even when Jack mentioned it to me, what I should be, I was like, there's no way. But he said that I should probably be like 145, 150. And right now, I'm at 200. That's what I've lost.
No way.
Yes, ma'am.
You do. That's how we do cheers these days. You look great.
Well, thank you.
So, okay,
it's the exercise.
I have to ask, because maybe we shouldn't get so fixated on a number, right? Because people carry their weight in different ways.
Sure. And muscle, when you start increasing your lean muscle and getting rid of the fat, your body starts shrinking down. It takes up less room, muscle. So as she continues to exercise, she's going to be smaller.
None of us is in our 20s anymore. I won't age any of us, but we're not in our 20s.
No.
So there tends to be this idea that you're just going to put on weight as you get older. But are our bodies meant to just be a certain size, Jack, and they really shouldn't have to change from that much as we age?
I think the big part, and I think we talked about this one other time, the biggest part of aging is that we lose muscle, and because we're less active. And when you lose muscle, you can't burn up fat like you used to. So when you're younger, you have all this muscle in your body and you're burning fat even when you're sleeping. So it's important that we weight train, resistance train as we go forward to keep that burning of the fat and your body healthy and strong.
All right, so here's how you can get in touch with Jack. It's simply by going to InShape MD. And if you were quite honestly, like I was, truthfully I was, Jack, thinking that the main thing you offered was the HCG, clearly he has lots of different pathways, and you're going to help find the one that's right for your client.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
Well, Renee, I guess I won't tell you to go out and have a great lunch, but you might. You'll just know how to choose the healthy option on the menu, right?
Right.
You look great.
Well, thanks so much.
Thanks for sharing your story. There's Jack's contact information, phone number, website, and address right there on your screen. Always good to see you.
When your family gathers around a shakaroni from Papa John's, you're sharing more than extra cheese and pepperoni.